Hey everybody, Elizabeth Nader back with you again tonight, the Nader Narrative, bringing you great candidates from around New Jersey, and tonight is no different. I am pleased to introduce to everyone two incredible guys running for City Council in Florham Park, Josh Marchal and Scott Carpenter. Josh and Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
We are excited to get to know you guys better. You are from one of my favorite towns with one of my favorite mayors. And I think, we all know Florham Park has a fabulous reputation as a great place to live. But these things don't happen overnight. You have to work really hard to keep towns strong. So both of you have decided to run for office, to serve your community. Let's get to know you better. Josh, we're going to start with you. Let everybody know just high level your background and really the passion behind why you're deciding to run.
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Joshua Marchell. I've lived in Florham Park since 2013. I graduated high school in 1998 out of Bergen County, New Jersey, Midland Park, and joined the Navy. I served the Navy. I was honorably discharged in May of 2002 and got into finance. And I've been in finance ever since. The reason I'm running for town council is simple. I believe in community. I believe in volunteerism. I believe in giving back. I do a lot of things within the community because I care about the community, and my kids are currently growing up in the school systems in Florham Park. So a lot of things I'll do is I'm on the fire department with Scott, and I do a lot of coaching throughout the town, and I love to coach the kids, and my family is very happy in Florham Park. We care about the community a lot, and we want to see it continue to thrive.
That's amazing. And it is, I second that. It is quite a town. Thank you for your service, by the way. That's fabulous. Scott, give us a little insight into your background and let us know what's behind your decision to run.
Alrighty. Well, first of all, I'm an incumbent and I'm running for re-election. My story is very similar to Josh's. I moved into town over 50 years ago. It turned into my hometown. I grew up in a very close town in Western New Jersey, where everybody kind of helped everybody. My family was ingrained in that community, and they were always helping other people. So volunteerism just seemed natural to me. I continued that as a young man, and now as an adult. To me, I feel that if you're going to be part of a community, you need to volunteer within it in some capacity. We all need to be on this big blue marble, helping one another in various ways. So I just started along the same path as Josh, youth sports. I got involved in the Environmental Commission, some other projects within town. And then ultimately, I kind of matriculated to what I consider just another form of volunteerism in the community, and that's serving on the town council.
So when you think about your years of service on the council, what are you most proud of that you guys have achieved?
I'll take this one because I think the thing that's so unique, and it's true in every community, but I think it's very unique in Florham Park. The challenge of our local government is to be everything to everybody. That's what I always say. They say, what platform are you running on? And it's that sense that you want the community to be everything to every resident, and all residents have maybe shared beliefs or shared things that they would like. But I think our town is somewhat unique in the fact that certain people care passionately about one issue and, totally disregard other issues. And I think the thing that we really need to strive for and try and get a better handle on is a sense of community where our entire community cares about the entire community. But like I said, it's the big thing is trying to make it everything to everybody. And that's sort of what we've done historically. And you can see by our matrix of, sense of community, tax rates, our resources within the town and our facilities. The municipality over, the past couple of years has done a tremendous job of kind of, filling that mantra of being everything to everybody. And it's a challenge, as Josh will see as he soon joins the council.
Absolutely. And, that's a good question, Josh. As you join, God willing, you win and you join in this next session, what will some of your priorities be? Where would you like to focus?
Well, like I said, I want to kind of pick up where the council is leaving off this session and continue to run the town in an efficient manner. I think one of our big draws is that we have a very low tax rate relative to in the state of New Jersey, and we make wise decisions and prudent decisions. And I would say one thing I really enjoy about when I go to these council meetings is they don't make knee-jerk reaction decisions. They really think things through. And I've been talking to Scott on a lot of things, and whether it's an environmental issue, whether it's building and development, any of those things, it's always easy to appease and say you're going to do something, but I don't think our council does that. I've been really watching them and how they operate, and they look at all aspects of an issue before they make a decision. And I think I want to continue to do that. Obviously, I have kids in the school system, so some of my constituents are going to have different priorities than some other ones. And a lot of those priorities are going to be aligned with what I'm thinking. And I want to bring some good ideas and some new energy to the council. But I got to tell you, I think the current council as it sits has done an outstanding job of taking the town business seriously, but also being very fair how they disperse their decisions. It's not one-sided at all. And I think to Scott's point, as he said, he's trying to be everything to everybody. And when they make a decision, they look at how it affects everything, not just one thing. So when I get in there, I think it's going to be me kind of seeing what I can do and how I could add value from a different perspective.
Right. Different perspectives always help. Right. One of the biggest challenges, Scott, for communities is development, right? And how you develop smartly, correctly, how you deal with the low income housing requirements. How do you see Florham Park in terms of its development, and what do you see on the horizon?
As far as our fair share housing obligation, I mean, we have tremendous professionals, both that we've outsourced and both within our borough governance that have guided us along the way. And we have very solid core beliefs in how the town should be developed. And we've also been fortunate enough to come across some pretty amenable partners in our development. But, again, it goes back to that challenge. Nobody wants to see development, but development's necessary, especially with this fair share housing looming out there over everybody. But I think the borough has done a very good job of managing it to the best degree that they can. And I think the biggest challenge for the residents to understand is the process is very convoluted, and it's not very simple in the fact that you're almost forced into making developmental decisions that perhaps you wouldn't if fair share housing wasn't looming. So
right.
And I think that with our professionals, our mayor, and our current council, we've made some very good choices that are going to stick to what our core beliefs are in our community.
Yeah, you definitely have. And I think another strong suit for Florham Park has been the school system as well. So that's another area that I think you've done a good job. Josh, you have school-aged children. What do you see as the strengths in the school system? And are there any areas that you would like to see some improvement?
I think, we'll start with the pandemic. So I think the way not only just the Board of Ed and the teachers and all the administrators at the school, I think they did a great job considering they were handed lemons. They made lemonade out of it. Right. They did the best to get the school open in an efficient manner. They did the best to try to accommodate, when you have a unprecedented pandemic like we just went through, and then you're trying to kind of read out the bureaucracy coming from Trenton on how to make it work for everybody. Right. I sat on some of those meetings, and all concerns from both sides of the spectrum. I think that the school did an excellent job of, first of all, getting back open, getting back to business, doing it in a safe manner. And I give them all the credit in the world, because I know that some towns aren't in the position we're sitting in right now where their kids are even going into school. And I couldn't say that I thought it was going to be a longer time before it got. Listen, I love my kids, but teaching them and working full time was not ideal, especially both my wife and I work. And I was very happy to send them back. I think they're happy to be back, because I think they need that sense of having other kids around them and being together and just being kids. And they're able to do that in a safe manner. So I applaud the school system and all the things they did and all the safety measures. That's very important that they took to make sure they did it in an efficient manner.
So the kids are back in school. How much last year would you say percentage wise did they have to shut down generally?
Geez, that's a good question. I don't remember. I can't, last year is such a blur.
It is a blur. It's probably an unfair question because
I know
don't
they went back.
want to think about it.
I don't even remember. I mean, it feels like it was yesterday. When they were home, we were homeschooling them.
Yeah.
Even that, I got to tell you, we did the best with what we had. What I did like, even though the homeschooling is tough when you have, at that time, my son was 7 and my other son was 10. Your attention span is the issue there. What I did like was I saw that a lot of the teachers tried to make it interactive. If they saw kids kind of pacing off on the computer or kind of losing their attention, they would say something. And a lot of the things that I also enjoyed was that the teachers would be available for help, because sometimes, their curriculums now, the way they're teaching kids math, the way they're teaching them grammar is a lot different than we were taught.
So different.
We still get to the same outcome.
Yes.
But our outcome is different than their outcome of how they got there. Right. So I want to make sure that, I'm learning with them, because sometimes the way I did math, I'm like, oh, this is simple. You do this, you do that. And my son's looking at me like, no, that's not what they showed us to do, Dad. You're wrong, even though your answer's right. So I had the ability to speak to teachers, and my wife did, especially. I give my wife all the credit because she was kind of really doing it all. She was able to help them get through that time. And I don't remember, honestly, how many months we were closed. It seems like an age ago, but all I know is they got through it, and they were able to retain some of the information they learned that way.
Well, that's excellent. And they're open now, and that's where the kids need to be. So, Scott, another sign of a really well-run community, besides the schools, which definitely are excellent, is really the police force as well, and how it supports the community. Your relationship with the police force has always been strong. Talk about that.
Well, it's always, and again, it starts with our department heads and our business administrator, Mr. Heiler. We've always had a great working relationship with the police department. Fortunately, the police department's in my EMS portfolio, so I get to deal with those issues on a almost a monthly basis. They've always just come to Florham Park. The patrolmen we hire, we have a very top-notch, I would say, hiring process. And people, I think the secret to why our force is so successful is people enter our department at the entry level, whether it be a dispatcher or a patrolman, and they have a total understanding of the direction that the department is heading, the support in which they get from the community, and they know right off the bat that that relationship has been founded on years of cooperative actions on both the town's part and the department's part, and they don't have any misguided representations of what their job or what the municipality is going to ask of them. We're very fortunate that our business administrator is retired from law enforcement, and it's the one thing that the borough has done very well, in my opinion, is they've never politicized any departments within the borough structure, especially the police department. You can see all over the state, if not the nation, where these municipalities get into trouble when somehow the politics of running a municipality or a city gets involved in the day-to-day operations of public safety. And we've done, from our mayor to our council to our business administrator to our police chief, we've done a phenomenal job of making sure that one doesn't ever enter into the other's kind of avenues. So
I would agree with that. You guys have done a tremendous job from the outside looking in, and your chief was incredibly strong during the pandemic, especially.
He excuse me for interrupting, but I can't tell you enough about how our chief did during the pandemic. And watching borough governance, you see sometimes there's people that live very much within their job structure, and they'll be quick to say that that's not in the structure of my job. Our chief Orlando, he's in my superhero book, because anything that came up during the pandemic, he didn't shy away from making sure that what occurred was in the best interest of the borough and made the borough as safe as possible.
So really incredible guy. Incredible guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, another sign of building the relationships and everybody's working well together. And it's an important aspect of the community. Also, Josh, small businesses in Florham Park. Now, you guys have a fabulous downtown. I think I spent all my money there, coming from Morris Township. It's definitely thriving. Now, that doesn't mean that it didn't get hurt, of course, by the pandemic, the restaurants and all of that. How do you see the small business environment now? And do you think that we're coming out of this in a way that they'll be able to survive going forward?
So that's a great question. And the answer is, I hope so, right?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing and I always gauge it by the lunch traffic, right? So, because I work on Campus Drive, and based on the parking lot capacity is how you could see things are getting back to normal. And I could tell you right now, it's getting busy. And I like to see that. I give a lot of our business owners a lot of credit because they had to find out ways to innovate. If you talk about the food business, especially, you go from everybody comes in and sits down to now you got to get some kind of delivery services in there. And it can't be, the kid you're paying to do your car. Now you had to get the Uber Eats and all these other services to help you. And I think overall, the town's done some things to make things easier for them, like having the outdoor seating, and that helped a lot. I couldn't believe the amount of people that after we started to settle a little bit that just wanted to be out. And those outside seatings were filling up really quickly. I've been going to the restaurants. I frequent the restaurants often in town. I'm seeing a lot of people, which is good. And when you see that, I think what also happened now is they've figured out how to be efficient, not only on the takeout business, but on these in-person business. So I think at the end, if everything gets back to normal, they've just picked up a whole nother revenue stream with the ability to get the takeout and be efficient with it. So I think things are going to be settling back in, I hope. And as long as the pandemic stays under control and we can keep things open, I think our downtown's going to continue to thrive.
Yeah, God willing, what a fabulous downtown. And I think you're right. The businesses have learned a lot, and it's only helping them now, even though, we didn't want to go through this, but we did. And they're going to come out the other end stronger. Scott, I have to ask you, I'm sure you're going door knocking. You've done it in the past. It's a big part of running, right? If I were to go with you right now, what would I hear most of the residents say to you about what their concerns are about the town, or really what they want you to hear about from them?
Well, again, it goes back to what I said initially, trying to be everything for everyone. There is an overall concern about development within the community, and some of their concerns are somewhat unfounded. And when you educate them on, what we're doing, how we're doing the process, you can assuage most of their fears. But it's a very unique town. Like I had said, there's, other than development and traffic and all of the things that are typical of any resident of a community being worried about, there isn't anything overwhelmingly said that would, that like Josh mentioned earlier, that needs to be fixed or that needs to be, kind of looked at or changed. And again, the biggest, and again, this is one of the things that the council has taken a hard look at, is one of the overall goals of the council has been recently is to find a better way to communicate with all of our residents. We have, we're not fortunate enough to have our own high school, and to some small degrees, and we kind of lack that sense of community where the town is centralized through, the educational process. So we've embarked upon several different ways to communicate with our residents and get, these messages, why we're doing certain things out there. We restarted a quarterly newsletter, and it sounds archaic in the days of, the medium formats that we're using now, just the three of us chatting live here. But there's nothing wrong with sitting down and reading a piece of paper at your leisure. So,
right.
We've kind of, as much as we've progressed, we've looked at what works on a grassroots level. And I think, being able to communicate with our residents and being able to them to understand the process involved in any problem or decision, as Josh alluded to earlier, is quintessential. I can't really recall an instance where after the resident understood the process and heard, the entire part of the story, that they walked away disappointed. Most people's concerns, I hate to say this, are based on misinformation, or they hear part of a story, or, and that's truly unfortunate. And again, that's one of the things that the council and the mayor is trying to kind of alleviate and get the information out there. And there's nothing for us to hide. We want everything we're doing way out in the open. And again, we welcome people into our council chamber, and that's you go to our council chamber and you're there and engaged, and Josh can attest to this. You'll get answers, and if we don't have them for you that night, well, somebody's going to be calling you the next day or sending you an email as soon as we can, get to the core of what your question is and get it answered. So that for the most part, it's like I said, it's a myriad of things, and it's just mostly their concerns are mostly based on some, not full understanding of an issue. And once we give it to them, they're pretty much satisfied.
Sure. I mean, education, good communication, and creating a sense of community is a large part of that. You're absolutely right, Scott. And obviously you guys have done a good job in that. Josh, I'm going to let you have the last word to the constituents. Scott is running again and, wants to continue to serve. You would like to replace someone who's retiring. So I'm going to let you have the last word as we wrap up, just to tell people why it's so important to keep the city council strong and bring you both back.
Thanks. So like I said in the beginning of my opening comments, I'm running because I really love Florham Park. I care about the community a great deal. I think that, bringing in me to kind of help make decisions to keep the town moving in the right direction is important, right? Because I have a different constituency based on my age group, and I think I could bring some more awareness to Scott's point. In the absence of information, people make assumptions, and without that information, somebody clearly communicating, it could get lost in translation. So I think, having a voice, being communicative, and making sure we're making sound decisions for the town is going to keep it a great place to live. It already is an awesome place to live. And like I said earlier, I think continuing down the path we're going down is only going to be better for the community going forward. Yeah. We don't want to there's no need for wholesale changes. Incremental changes here and there, making prudent decisions, listening to your constituents. When we take on a project or anything we're going to look at, it's going to be looked at all angles. We're going to make sure we're not making decisions just on the spot. And I think that's one of the things I really appreciated about attending some of these meetings, learning about the town council. And I really think I could have an impact, not only as a citizen, but to the town, because I care about it a lot, and my kids are in it. They're living there every day, and I work in the town. So I think my main goal here is to keep the town awesome. And I want to say that word. It's an awesome town. And
I love it. That's your tagline. Keep Florham Park awesome. I mean,
it is an awesome town. And I tell that to everybody. And whenever my friends are coming from other towns, like, where should I live? I always say, look in Florham Park. Amen. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. And to Scott's point, we want to keep it a tight-knit community where it's a small community, but it has big town goals and aspirations. And I think we can continue to do that.
That's great. I love it. Well, hats off to you guys. Scott, thank you for doing such a great job. And Josh, it's going to be fun to see you get in there. And hats off to your mayor, to your chief, all these really strong people running this community. How can people reach out to you if they have anything they want to talk to you about, your constituents? What's the best way, Scott, for them to reach out?
Well, I obviously email is the quickest and the most efficient for people. I think everybody, through my service in the community, I think if somebody wants to reach out to me, they just have to ask a friend, how do I get in touch with Scott Carpenter? Everybody knows, the majority of the people know where I live. So any of those mediums will work. I mean, I think enough people know who I am that they could find me, I guess. Excellent. Would be the best thing. And obviously, like I said, email's the simplest way, so. And
how about you, Josh?
Same. I think a lot of people, to Scott's point, I've been in the community a while, would know how to get a hold of me. But I'm also email accessible. If anybody needs anything, they know they can email me. And some people would even call me directly. So to Scott's point, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I live in town, and you'll see us well, Scott and I are both on the fire department as well. So if you need to really get a hold of us, just call the fire department. But
there you go. Well, non-emergency line.
I don't mean to add to the conversation, but we've actually attended a few fire calls, and the person said, "Oh, you're on the council." So after we've taken care of their minor emergency, you know, we've gotten into how we could fix something that they've been thinking about. So again, but Josh and I being part of the community, they're like, I mean, we're just spread it out in it to the point where I think people know where we are. You know?
I love it. That's so Americana that you guys are on the fire department as well as serving town council. That's that small town feeling. That's what America's all about. But yet it's really these big town goals, as you say, Josh, which I love. You guys, thank you so much. I wish you the best. It'll be fun to see you continue to navigate this town because it really is a model of Morris County and of New Jersey. So hats off to you guys. Thank you for coming on. And if anybody listening in Florham Park wants to reach out, you know how to find them. Just don't create a fake fire just to get to them. It's easier. You can just email, call, ask your neighbor. Guys, best of luck to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And to my audience, guys, we'll see you next week.